All right, we should be live any moment now. And there we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Bar911-970. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And it is currently 5:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 8th of December, 2016. And I want to talk a little bit about the role of both Bernie Sanders and Jill Stein, both supposed to be originally independent people in this presidential quote-unquote election. And as you could see, well, we know Bernie Sanders, he joined the Democratic Party, and you see what Jill Stein is doing in the supposed Green Party with these recounts, knowing that there is no chance that she would remotely be doing this for herself. And she's actually doing this potentially, because we can't prove it, but I mean, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's most likely a duck. But how she's doing this for the Democrats and the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton company. So I want to show you a couple of little clips. And of course, I will post the links in the descriptions below. So once I have this uploaded, I will post the link. So if you want to check the videos, and because of fair use, I can only show a little bit. But that's all I need. But the first one I want to show is about Jill Stein. And let's just show you about what the current events are, because this whole thing that she's doing right now with the recount, they're actually trying to dismiss it, and she's going to cost the taxpayers millions of dollars to continue doing this, and it's not going to change anything. But let's listen to this little bit of the Newslink report. So let's put the volume up so you can hear it. And here we go.
They basically called this an expensive publicity stunt because it's estimated to cost about $2 million here in Michigan. Obviously, the Green Party says they are going to continue with this. They plan to go with the Supreme Court and ask them to continue with this recount. And again, in Pennsylvania, there's expected to be a hearing tomorrow to decide whether there will be a recount there. So this is a story that keeps on evolving in the various states in which this is connected to. It's something that we're obviously going to have to keep an eye on.
Okay, so we're going to stop it right there. So basically what they're saying is this going to cost over $2 million in taxpayers' money? Now, if she had a honest bone in her body and she was trying to show she has integrity, well, wouldn't she and her party use their own money to finance this? You haven't noticed how governments, politicians, corporations, they're always using our currency and not their own. When they do the bailouts, for example, for these big banks, we end up paying for it. When Wall Street ends up doubling and tripling down, gambling our money and lose, we have to pay for it. When there are new bridges and roads, we have to pay for it. So it's such a lucrative deal to become any type of politician, because they can do whatever they want, steal our currency, and there's a reason why I call it currency and not money. Sometimes I slip because old habits die hard, but they get away with stealing our currency, and we seem to be okay with it. So this whole recount is going to cost the taxpayers, as of now, over $2 million. So what is going on here? Is she being paid to do this? Is she really an independent? Because why are no independents being on Trump's side? Why is it all for Hillary Clinton? And the video I made over a year ago is saying that I originally thought that Hillary Clinton was going to be president, not because I wanted her to be, but because of how they are trying to program us to think that she is the next guaranteed president. Look how hard they're even trying to get her in, even though she lost. So you look at Bernie Sanders, how even though with the WikiLeaks evidence proved that the DNC was blocking Bernie Sanders from ever getting a chance to win, he still went on her side and still said that people should vote for her, even though he took thousands, if not millions of dollars from people who believed in him, who trusted him, who thought this was going to be different. And let me show you a little bit about Bernie Sanders that some people may or may not be aware of. And this is according to WikiLeaks. I'm sorry, not WikiLeaks, Wikipedia. So I'm going to show a little bit of Bernie Sanders here. Now, you may or may not know that Bernie Sanders is actually a socialist. And as you could see here, and I'll post a link for this as well, right here, it says Sanders is a self-described socialist, a democratic socialist. So it's not like people are just making up rumors. So he admits himself that he is a self-described socialist. And look at all these socialist parties. Now, some of them you could definitely tell would be ones you would want to avoid. Like, for example, the Communist Party USA, the Democratic Socialists of America, the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Notice how they love to use the word freedom. But look down here. Peace and Freedom Party. Progressive Labor Party. I mean, it's amazing how they could use some of these words. Workers' World Party. So you'd never know what that is unless you really knew what was going on. But look how many different active parties and organizations that are socialist in this country. And we're seeing that Bernie Sanders recently just bought his third home and paid approximately $600,000 in cash for this home. You see Jill Stein raised, when I made that video just a couple of days ago, over $7 million to do this quote-unquote campaign for this recount. And are they really going to do anything other than give independent parties a bad name? Because you see the Green Party, which Jill Stein is a part of, they're not saying, oh, we don't want a part of this. As you heard in that news clip that I showed, they're backing her and say, we're going to continue to follow this. So, I mean, it's hard enough for independent people to ever get a chance to become president. No independent party has ever won. I mean, unless you want to think of somebody like George Washington with the Whigs Party, because there wasn't Republican, Democrat as the only things back then. He was part of the Whigs Party, and I think a couple of others were. But in the present day modern era, no independent person ever has a chance. And yet now this is going to leave a bad, taste in people's mouths. I mean, who is going to trust anybody from the Green Party again? Who's going to trust these independent people who make you believe in them the whole time of the campaign, and at the last minute they say, oh, well, I have no chance, so I'm going to go for what I was basically up against, who I did not believe in, and I had a party against. So, I mean, you have Bernie Sanders, he became a Democrat, and he was going for the Democratic Party. Jill Stein, it might as well be called Jill Sanders. But Jill Stein is still a member of the Green Party, but it's obvious that she's been either potentially paid or influenced by Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton herself, climbed on board this recount train and just letting Jill Stein be the punching bag. So who's going to take these people seriously? So I think, in my opinion, this is to undermine any potential third party from ever getting a chance. It was hard enough as it is. Now it's going to be virtually impossible, because the people are going to have such a bad taste in their mouth over this, from the fact that these people basically tricked all of their followers into believing them to be true and genuine and wanting to do something different. And they ultimately ended up being on the Democratic Party regardless. So for me, it's just sad that these things are happening. And unfortunately, people are still going to be tricked. So I want to try and point these things out to keep people from following in the same footsteps over and over again. So I would love to hear your opinions on this. So when I process this, leave your comments. Let us know what you think. And this shows that this system cannot be trusted. We are time and time again being lied to. And I don't know how much more we have to have until people start to get it. So thanks for listening. Have a great night. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.